Now today we're going to be looking at the Chess Club playing cards by Magic and Carta, and thank you to Magic and Carta for sending me this deck. Now, just because they sent me the deck does not mean I'm going to change how I review it, because no matter who sends it to me, it doesn't change what it looks like. So, you guys are going to be getting the most honest reviews here on the channel and every single Wednesday. So, if you guys want to stick around for this journey, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you can get notified when all these deck reviews drop. So let's get into this video right now. So starting with the front of the tuck box, we're going to be seeing that is half of the king and half all crossed lines. So I do like it, although I do wish it would have just been the kings with the words Magic and Carta from it, or the words Chess Club, or something along those lines, or even just the king itself. But I still do like it, still looks good. I just don't understand why they cut it in half. So wrapping around to this side, it is a signature right here, and then on the other side saying Chess Club, the bottom being some ad copy for Magic and Carta, and then the back being not quite the back design. It's like a zoomed out, but still looks good. Cool checkerboard pattern, or chessboard pattern, I guess you would call it for this deck. Still looks cool. I do wish one thing that they would have done, like if you're looking at it this way, you're one off, like you're just, if you would have reduced it by one square, then you actually would have had the width of a checkerboard. Like, I think that they could have done it, because, like, what you need for an actual checkerboard or chessboard, you have to have two in the middle for the king and queen, then the bishops, and then the knights, and then the rooks, right? So you have 3 on each side, being 6, 7, and 8. Although this one is not 8, it is 10. It's 10 across. And I'm like, it looks cool. I really like it. But if you would have put it 8 across instead of 10 across, then you would, like, I think it would have fit in more with the pattern. So, still looks cool. And the other one across the bottom is 7 across. So if you would have added in one more, again, you would have had it. So I think it's just a missed opportunity there. But besides that, top of it is done in just across black and white. And then on the inside of the tuck flap, same thing here. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing crazy. So, like the tuck box, enough with that. Let's take a look at the cards. So I really do like how just like the one half of it where it's all crossed hash marks, you're going to see the same thing for the pips of all of the number cards and everything else on this deck. So these are the hearts, the spades, diamonds, and clubs. So everything is done in all these hash marks going either vertical or horizontal or diagonal, and it all looks super, super good. Plus, all of the values are all custom made. Looks super good. Next, for the court cards, we have right here, all of the court cards from like all the jacks are going to be the same thing, just change the colors. So these are the jacks right here, and these are your queens, and these are your kings. Now it's not going to change from like the king of hearts to the king of diamonds. The only thing that's going to change is the NDC in that top corner. So really, it's all pretty simple, it's all pretty standard, and I do like that because when it comes to actual chess game, the only thing that changes from the king on one side and the king on the other is it's changing from black to white, or depending on the set, it could change from brown to white or from whatever colors they have. But for the most part, it's just going to change the colors, and this is just going to change the indices. I do like it that way. And yes, all of these courts are all going to be one-ways. So that is definitely different from most court cards, which are all two-way designs. This one is all going to be one-ways, which is you can use again for magic effects that you have to rotate them just like you would for a one-way back design. And in addition to this, none of the court cards have a reveal, which I do think could have been done on at least one of them. Like even if you did it for like all of the kings, so that all of them could have been the same way. But simplistic is still good. Speaking of simplistic, here are your 3 aces. So you have the ace of clubs right here, the ace of diamonds, and the ace of hearts. So all enlarged pips, and they all have a little line around the outside of them. And this is how I like my aces done. You have the number cards, then you have the 3 aces, you have the, or court cards depending on what you like more. I personally like to go number cards, court cards, aces, ace of spades, and this one, not out of the ordinary, is going to be upping the game. So it's definitely better than the court cards and the number cards. It takes that top spot right there, just how I like it. Now before we get into the ace of spades, we have some jokers and ad cards to show you. So first, ad card number 1, it just says Chess Club with what the jacks, queens, and kings look like. And then on the other one, we have a blank card, which is great for magic effects. And then for your duplicate jokers, which both say checkmate of one of the black kings who has been slashed into 3. Now, although I do really like this, I wish that one of them would have said checkmate, but it wouldn't have been all slashed up. Or even if you're going to keep them both duplicates, having them fallen over. Because like if you're actually going to say checkmate or you're going to forfeit in a game of chess, you're just going to tip over the king, let it hit, and that's how the game's called. You don't chop it up into pieces, right? So like I think that there's another way that they could have done that, where just like in the white knight's deck where it's fallen over, that would have been more of the way that I would have went with this. And then you could have done some shading with it. I just think it's a little bit of a missed opportunity there. I do like how it's slashed, and I do think this can be fun for card games, having like both players have this type of card, and then that can be another special card that they play for whatever game you're making up. Or that can just be like for Crazy Eights, this can be the card you use, etc. Right? So when you're playing some card game, and I want to see like what kind of ways you can incorporate these cards into it. I just think it'd be fun. And of course, we still have the Ace of Spades and the back design. So first, let's go with the Ace of Spades. Definitely different than the other three aces, although quite honestly, I'm not quite sure what those little things are. Even when I like put it as close as I can, either to the camera or to my eye, it doesn't really make sense as to what these things are. So I think either if they would have had some symbol that would have gotten smaller to make the Ace of Spades, or something specific, even if it was just like a pip of a heart or the club, or even just a bunch of spades, that would have made it like that. I think it's cool. I like the design of it. I just wish they would have done it like a slight bit differently. But either way, still a cool Ace of Spades. And now, of course, for your back design. Back design looks absolutely gorgeous. This is one of the jokers, so you're not going to see how it is marked for suit. Now, if you're wanting to see how it is marked for suit, you're going to have to wait until Sunday. So you'll have to be subscribed and have that notification bell ring so that you can be notified when, I almost try to forget what the word notified was. You can be notified when that video drops on Sunday, hopefully at 8:30. Plus the premieres is going to be dropping. So I'm going to be doing more premieres when I'm doing this. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more at the end of the video. But first, let's get into the rest of the video. So you also want to know if this thing can Pharaoh. I also probably need to have the deck in my hands to show you that, if it can. So, going from top to bottom, definitely can Pharaoh quite easily. And then from bottom to top again, let's see how this baby works. So, bottom to top, Pharaoh's decently. Let me just make sure that wasn't my fault. That'd be embarrassing if that was the case. No, it's not super freakishly easy. Like, I still got it basically every other one except for the very beginning of it. I think once I break it in, it should be fine, but it's definitely a little bit more rough when pharaohing from the bottom to top. So fans, because of how it is marked, are not always, they're not going to be perfect fans ever. So you're going to have some dark ones, some light ones, and that's just how the marking system works. So there's a little bit of hint for you. I'm going to give you a little bit of one card that you're going to have to guess at the end of this video to see if you guys can see which one, if you know what it is. Not like this value, but just the suit. So we know that also, how does it handle, right? You want to know how it handles. Cards handle differently, even from USBCC, which I believe this deck is printed through. Like, every deck of cards is going to handle differently. So, how do you... I can't hand it through the... I can't hand it, like, here you go, right? Oh yeah, you like that beatbox. Why am I beatboxing? This is a magic video. I don't know. I'm ADD and it's midnight. Let's get into the rest of this. So, oh my word, I am ADD right now. I also have ADD, fun fact. So, this deck of cards right here can handle beautifully, but there's two ways that I can show you how it handles, because I can't physically give it to you. There's either the thickness, which is right here. It goes from, I said that like you can see it. You have from thin, middle of the line, and thick, and then on how it feels, you have buttery, middle of the line, snappy, or crisp, and then you have stiff, where you can hardly move it. So this deck right here on the thickness scale is pretty much just middle of the line. It's just classic stock. Feels great. Nothing premium. Nothing like double crushed or anything. Just middle of the line stock. Now how it feels, definitely feels good. So the ways that you can tell on which way it is how hard is it to do something like a spring? How hard is it to perform hot shot? Do under pressure, right? So springs, super freakishly easy. No problems there. Under pressure, super easy. Things like hot shot, going to be super easy. So when it comes to this deck, I would say it's definitely middle line, has some snappiness to it still, like no problem there, but it definitely leans buttery, right? So it's not, I wouldn't say it is a buttery deck, like I wouldn't just like move over and just set myself in that category, but it definitely has more buttery tendencies than snappy or crisp tendencies, right? So you're definitely going to have a little bit of flexibility when doing things like Hot Shot. It's not just going to be like, right? You're not going to have that crispness that you're going to have with some decks, like the B-roll playing cards, but definitely a really good deck, and you're going to be able to do everything you're wanting to with it. So, who should buy this deck? You're wanting to know if you should pick up this deck. Now, truly, I think it depends on the kind of person you are. Now, of course, you can just say, well, I like the deck, so I can buy it, right? But there are specific types of people that say, well, I don't think you should get it, or I do think you should get it, or right? So let me go through those really quick on what I think you should do. So if you are a magician, I definitely think you can pick this deck up. Now, there are some things I would say you should get it for, and there's some things I would say I'd watch out for, right? So definitely get a lot of good reasons on why you could get this. One is a marked back design, which is going to give you the upper hand. It's simplistic. The numbers and faces are all going to look good, but the one thing I might look out for is with the court cards not being completely standard on really how fast the spectators can notice it when you're going to have to look at the indices, right? So if you're just going to show a spectator a card really quick, there's not that big pip in that corner for the spectator to be like, oh yeah, it's this, right? Because like most of the time, if you have like the queen of a normal deck, you'd also have a big pip right there. But this one doesn't have that, right? So it might be a little bit harder for spectators to notice, but at the same time, still going to be a great looking deck. You're going to be able to perform magic with it. You do have the marking system and the blank card. I think it's going to be just fine. And I'll be using this for magic, just for reference. For cardistry, definitely think it could be fine. Again, checkerboard playing cards went crazy. So clearly that type of checkerboard pattern works really well. These are a bit bigger than checkerboard playing cards, so definitely not going to be quite the same. But again, I will definitely be using these for cardistry. I'm not sure how many videos I'll be using it for because I don't get to make cardistry videos that often because it just takes a lot of work. But if I'm out in public and I'm just sitting there with a deck of cards, I'll definitely be doing cardistry with this deck, and it's going to look good. So no problems there, but it's not just like a cardistry intended deck, right? So just fine in there. When it comes to collecting, definitely a deck that you can collect. One is from Magic and Carta. They create a bunch of great playing cards. I have a couple more reviews of theirs that's going to be coming up really soon. I believe 2 more. And then, so that's the first part. Number 2, it's chess deck. So there's many more chess decks, and apparently also marked, right? It's like the freaking Knights playing cards are also a marked chess deck, which I've also done a marking system review of. So if you guys want to check out that deck, I'll leave the link to that video in the description if you guys want to check that out. But you can just collect chess playing cards because chess is a really cool game. I love to play it. I don't know a ton about it. Like, I know enough to where, like, when I play, I basically win every time, but not to brag. But seriously, it's a fun game. I love chess, love playing cards. Chess playing cards makes sense to collect. Plus, it's just a cool freaking deck. So if you like putting decks on something like that, this would be a great deck that's going to go on one of those. And this one is going to go on that one. So, again, collectors, definitely a deck you can pick up. It's not like one of those like luxury, like knock luxury edition decks or something, or crazy rare or something like that. But still a fantastic deck. Love the way it looks. Definitely would collect it. For playing games, I'd hesitate. Since it is marked for value, if you're playing a game like Hearts, you could know which ones are Hearts, right? So as long as you're the only one that knows, or you just don't tell anyone or don't ever learn the marking system, you could be okay. But since it is marked, you could find people who are cheating with this deck. You don't really want that. So excluding cheaters, you should be fine, but I'd probably lean away from playing games. Plus, it's a nice deck, and I wouldn't want people ruining it. And then, is this a hype deck? Not at all. No. So, if you do want this deck of playing cards right here, you can check it out from Magic and Carta. I'll leave the link to them in the description below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. And if you guys want to see how to read this deck, let me just give you a quick example. Give the deck a quick cut. Right here, we have Hearts. Ready? Bam. Ready? Hearts. Killing the game. Alright, so if you guys want to know how to do this, I'll show you guys on Sunday. And just for reference, this one right here, see that card? See if you can guess it down in the comments below. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is Card Perfect, signing off.